All right, how's it going, everybody? It is the Awesemo.com NHL DFS Strategy show, and we've got a pretty big slate to talk about for tonight. Hopefully, all the viewers are enjoying your XFL Saturday. Uh, big day, and we've got some NHL to talk about, so we will do that and do all the normal stuff. We do have a bunch of free things for today. The lineup builder that is on the screen is going to be free, as well as the NBA ownership projections for the main slate. Yeah, I'm sure you guys are all tilting XFL. You like the Jake only shows? I don't know. I mean, easier for me to have a second person, but yeah, you guys probably see too much of me anyways. 6 days a week, and yeah, gets to be a little bit much. Yes, shit my money, taking all the NHL money. You guys probably saw he took the NBA money last night. Shit my money, took down just a cool 100K, and yeah, that's quite the heater the last few days. Took down 60 something K in NHL, the biggest $10 we're gonna have all season. And then if that wasn't good enough, nice 150K, yeah, 150K, something like that last night for good old shit my money. So guy's just a dual sport king now. That's the only way to explain it. He was playing NHL last night. I think he's going to continue playing NHL for a little while at least. He's running good in it. He's playing well in it. I've seen his lineups. He's caught on pretty quickly. So maybe another reason to, or maybe another pro to study, I suppose, is where I'm trying to get at. It's, what do we got today? 8 games? Let's see. 7 games? I can't even remember. At least all the slates have been somewhat like they've had quite a few games on them this entire week. 8 games. All right, 8 games. Yeah, apparently I can't count, but went through all of them, and it looks like it's going to be pretty good. So we'll get into that in just a minute. We're going to go through lineup study, FC Pros lineup study. I was looking at how much money I lost last night. There you go. There's me right there. Lost the second most. Put in the max 141. Took quite a bath last night, and that's going to happen sometimes. Let me click back on that tournament, and let's look at the actual winners. B. Kreider, one of the best players in NHL DFS, arguably the best, maybe the most profit this season. I guess I don't have the numbers. I don't track them, but he's got to be up there. He's had a couple massive nights. I want to say he took down the $4 on FanDuel too. But either way, I mean, it's night in, night out. It seems like this guy's winning tournaments. 3-2-1 is the way to go for him. It is Barzal, Lee, Eberle. I thought they took the hat trick away from Eberle, but I guess they paid out before they did that, or that was just a beat writer saying that reporting that erroneously, that he actually did get the hat trick or what. But Komarov one off, Svechnikov, Teravainen, just your Carolina stack. I mean, Carolina didn't really do much of anything. They lost 5-2, but double-digit points there, and then Spurgeon hat trick at 1.4%. This guy ran pretty hot. Natural hat trick in the third period for Jared Spurgeon, and that was it. So, yes. 6 watching here. Want to make sure the live chat reflects correctly. Thanks, William. Those are actually for anyone that's watching, those are actually a bunch of my friends watching. So they're downstairs laughing, watching me, watching XFL, and they're just, you can probably hear them on the mic. So if you see any messages referencing me specifically, that's probably them. So, as you can hear, they're laughing. Anyways, we do have a pretty good slate today. Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports is the presenting sponsor. They are one of the most trusted names in fantasy. They have lower management fees. They've got you're going to pay about 75% of what you're going to pay elsewhere. Playing on Yahoo, management fees, rake, whatever you want to call it. So use promo code Awesemo to get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points over on Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. They've always got NBA, soccer, NHL, PGA. They've got NFL. They don't have XFL yet, but maybe that will come. I'm not exactly sure. Haven't heard from Yahoo on that front. Real quick, let's go back to lineup study. And actually, there was a 10K winner in this 400. Yeah, Slewfoot. Slewfoot and B. Kreider just completely dominated last night. So, not shocking there. Like, whenever kind of the conventional stack doesn't go off, it feels like Slewfoot and B. Kreider are your guys that are oftentimes at the top. So, that was the case. Just this was actually just a 4-3-1 that Slewfoot ran. I wonder if Slewfoot just runs 4-3-1 at higher stakes on bigger slates, because that might be interesting to see. Gustafson was scratched. I'm not sure if he swapped to Keith or what, but I guess it's a possibility. Used up all the 50K. But yeah, Slewfoot, just one of the better players, as you guys all know. And then it was B. Kreider on FanDuel as well. So took down the 10 and the 4. Two different sites, two binks. Yeah, we'll talk about Yossi as well. This guy's on my list. Costing me a lot of money lately. All right, let's make sure we got the 7 Eastern game. Carolina and Toronto. 3 implied total for the Canes. 3.5 for the Leafs. Mrazek and Freddie Anderson are your goalies. Looking at ownership here, I don't see a bunch of these names at the top. Kind of some really weird names at the top. We'll talk about the Sharks and what we're gonna end up doing with that. Burns, Vander Kane. There's kind of weird chalk, that I don't agree with. So I guess that's good. The Matthews line has been playing really well offensively. They haven't been finishing. Tavares, Nylander, and Mulligan have. They played one game together and they were really good in terms of just getting a bunch of shot attempts and scoring chances. I don't think there's necessarily a great matchup against the Hurricanes. I'm not sure that there is against the Leafs either, but we've got high implied totals. If you're going to Carolina, it's pretty much always Carolina 1 or bust. The problem is I think it's going to be pretty tough to overcome either the Matthews line or the Tavares line. So actually not crazy about Carolina 1 here. I kind of prefer the Toronto side. I like the Matthews line specifically. And the other lines here, more secondary plays than anything. I feel like the Rangers are a better team than the Leafs now. They've played better recently, that's for sure. Another good win for the Rangers last night. Now the question is, are they going to have a letdown game against San Jose? We'll see. We'll see about that. Guys in this game that are viable on the blue line, Muzzin and Tyson Barrie, probably your main guys. If you want to punt with Sandin or Justin Hull, it's not a terrible idea. Slavin, $4,700 on DK. Again, as we talked about Nolan and I yesterday, just a guy that I'm not playing all that much as a one-off. It's more of a correlation play if you're going with some Carolina 1. Let's go to Montreal and Ottawa. Oh, and back to that game. Like, if I was building 1 or 2 or 3 lineups, I don't think I'd get to a lot of this game. I think maybe a Toronto stack or Toronto power play stack or something like that. But in terms of core plays, I don't think that game has a ton of them for me. Montreal, Ottawa. Carey Price and Hogberg, I believe, are going to be your goalies. Actually, I thought I saw it was Craig Anderson somewhere. Let me check this out. It is. Oh, depends on the site you look. I don't know. Anderson or Hogberg, whatever. Pajot, Kachuk, Duclair is expected to start. They went with Batherson last game up on the top line, and then Duclair went with the Tierney line. I think it was Tierney, Brown, and Duclair, and then it was, I can't even remember who the third line was. It didn't really matter. Pretty good spot here for Montreal. It would seem like a spot where Pajot just goes up against the Danault, Tatar, Gallagher line. That wasn't really the case last game, though. And maybe it was more due to Ottawa switching lines around. I'm not sure. Maybe they couldn't get in rhythm with the matching that they usually do, but that wasn't the case. So kind of weird to see. Danault, Tatar, Gallagher, your best option on Montreal. And they're pretty cheap, and they're not being owned very highly. So I don't know if they're just not projecting as well as maybe you would think, but like they're a line that I'm going to manually boost at this price and this ownership, because if you go up against Pajot, Kachuk, and Duclair, and that's worst case scenario, that's still not too bad of a matchup. They've got the higher implied total. The Pajot side of this also is getting basically no ownership. The top line, I don't know why that would be 18-3 on DraftKings. Seems like a pretty good price for a 3 implied total. I think there could be chances traded all between these two lines. Both really good offensively, both not elite defensively. So I like it. I like both top lines here. And then I'm going back to this Domi, Kovalchuk, Paul Byron line. I wish it was Lehkonen there, but it was Byron last game. Lehkonen was a late scratch for whatever reason. So just be aware of that. Montreal has kind of switched out their lines lately, and we should know this right at 6:30 Eastern or 6:35 or so Eastern time, and make sure you get Domi and Kovalchuk, and then figure out who the third winger is, whether it's going to be Lehkonen or Byron. That could also be a potential problem if it actually ends up being Lehkonen and you build your lineups like it's Byron because of the swap up and the price difference. Defenseman in this game, it would be, you're probably looking at Shabbat. I like Petrie a lot just because he's on the Gallagher Tatar unit, and that to me is their top power play. They're pretty even between the two units. So Weber goes a little bit better with the Domi, Kovalchuk, or the Armia Drouin line, and then Petrie goes better with the top line. Vegas 2, yeah, we'll get there. They're really Vegas 1, but yeah, we will get to them pretty shortly. This should go quick. On the Senators side, Mike Riley's the guy I'm playing the most of. More as a one-off. I don't really like playing Mike Riley one-offs all that often, but he's just going pretty much ignored. He's playing around 20 minutes. It's a guy that I'm probably going to be over on. We have him projected pretty low ownership, so he's one of the guys I'm punting with at 3,400. And then you kind of know what to do with Shabbat. If you're playing Ottawa 1, that'd probably be your guy. If you're one-offing, he's not my favorite tonight. He's in like the Theodore range, and I prefer Theodore. Big Vegas guy. Let's go to San Jose and the New York Rangers. 2.9 implied total for the Sharks. 3.6 for the Rangers. Dell, and not sure who's going for the Rangers. It was Shesterkin last night. I think he saw a pretty heavy workload. I haven't seen anything on who's going for the Rangers. So this will be a mystery. We should find this one out before lock, well before lock. But there is a price difference between Shesterkin and Georgiev or Lundqvist, but they scratched Lundqvist last night, so I wouldn't think it would be him. I don't really know who's going. Not that it matters all that much. Lundqvist is projected somewhere Georgiev is projected somewhere. I don't even know. So we'll see who it is. I guess it can't hurt to put in Shesterkin, and then you could just global swap to whoever it ends up being, if that's the case, because he's the more expensive guy. So certainly could do that. Rangers look amazing here. You look at either of these Sharks' top two lines, they are very poor defensively. No Carlson. They're just getting demolished with injuries this whole season. So it doesn't really matter. I mean, Rangers would be a good spot even if they had Carlson and Couture and all these other guys, Hurdle. Without them, it's just kind of the most obvious spot on the night, it seems like. 3.6 total. That's almost as good as anyone on the slate. I think they're going under-owned, though. It's weird. I like both of the top two lines. I'm just in on the Rangers. They're not that interesting to talk about. They're popular. They're not as popular as I think they should be. So I'm likely going to be over on this. I'll power play stack it. I'll do a bunch of different things with my 150. The Sharks, though, they look to be pretty popular. And even if they're half of what we have them projected for, I mean, the Rangers have played better defensively recently, and you get two lines that really have issues defensively. And that's not a huge deal. They can still generate chances offensively for sure. But if they're going to be at this ownership, I'm going to be really low on the Sharks, specifically the Barclay Goodrow and Patrick Marleau line. You could stack Evander Kane with Thornton, Meyer, and LeBanc. If you just wanted to power play stack it, I suppose the Rangers still do take a lot of penalties. But man, that seems ridiculously high ownership on both sides. So looking to steer clear of the Sharks unless they come way down. They're still not one of my favorite spots anyways. So I'm okay fading them if they're even close to double digits, or at least going underweight on these lines. If I had to choose a Sharks line, it would be Thornton, Meyer, and LeBanc. But you look at the numbers, I don't know, are they going to be able to keep the puck out of their zone? That's going to be the issue. But I do like Burns for 7,300, so he's forcing me to get to some San Jose stacks, and specifically that top line, or maybe factoring in Evander Kane somehow there. Forwards tonight, Zibanejad, Matthews, Peugeot, and Kreider. Yeah, those guys are all good options, I think. I prefer the Rangers 1 line if you can, but power play stack, it looks incredible. For the Rangers, D'Angelo, I'll be mixing in a bunch with both of the top two lines, and then I suppose you could play some Trouba at 5,100, but it wouldn't be a guy that I'm prioritizing. Who plays versus that Kreider line? I'm guessing the Kreider line sees Thornton and LeBanc and Timo Meyer, but maybe with Evander back, maybe they see some of both. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter to me. As far as the Rangers side, it's both. They're both amazing matchups for them. Yeah, all over the Rangers. Burns at 7,300 is my favorite guy tonight on the blue line. That will come as a shock to pretty much no one. He's shooting a ton. He's playing a ton of minutes. He's just getting all the good minutes, top power play time. Like I said, the Rangers take a bunch of penalties. Probably have a couple opportunities there to just rack up shots, and block shots are certainly going to be a thing playing with this terrible team. So looking for the double bonus out of Burns. And if you get one of those games where the points are coming in bunches, then you're going to need him to win tonight. Love Burns. We'll be playing a ton of him. And let's go to Columbus and Nashville. We've got a 2.5 implied total for the Blue Jackets, 3 for the Predators. Merzlikins and UC Saros. Rene went last night. Heartbreaking loss for the Preds, losing to the fraud Blackhawks. That'll happen. Here, I need to check on any cheap guys you consider from the Sharks. LeBanc and Meyer, I think, are both decent values. But, like, blue line guys? Not really. And, by the way, the Rangers would be one of the priorities if I'm making a few lineups. I think Rangers, Vegas, and maybe this Columbus side. I want to see where they're at, though. They're not crazy. Columbus one's not crazy on our ownership projections, at least on DraftKings. They're really cheap, and it is a low total. So I get that. But they are fully correlated on the power play. Nashville in this downward spiral. They can't kill penalties. I know Columbus doesn't have a great power play or anything like that, but something's got to give here. Bad power play, bad penalty kill. You can stack up Columbus 1 plus Werenski pretty easily here, and that's how I like to attack this game mostly. Columbus has a really good defense. I know Merzlikins has struggled. However, yeah, that's a good point, Chris. So that's the question. Is this line actually going to be together? I don't know if they're going to be together at game time. So that is definitely a concern. I think Dubois and Nyquist probably going to be together. No Bjorkstrand, obviously. I think I mentioned that off the top. If not, yeah, Bjorkstrand out for basically the season. Yeah, Alva's struggling because Jones is out. It certainly takes a hit. So I like the Columbus side here. I do. I don't want to end up with like them as my highest owned stack, but I think they're one of the better value plays. So I think I agree with them as a good secondary play. And then on the Pred side, Nashville 1 is probably where I'm going here. I hate Nashville. I can't stand them. But I also can't avoid a elite line at this price, or what I think is going to be an elite line at this price, the Arvidsson, Johansson, Forsberg line. I think more often than not, they should do some damage. They should generate a lot of scoring chances, and they're just too cheap. So the season-long numbers for Columbus are really good, but maybe you downgrade them a little bit without Jones and Merzlikins struggling. No one's confirmed yet for Columbus. I wonder if they give Merzlikins a game off. I'm not even sure. Preds were so trash last night. Yeah, they weren't good. They weren't good. But the third line was. So you can go... Well, you could probably make a case for all three of these top lines. However, it's just so hard for me not to prioritize Johansson, Forsberg, and Arvidsson. They have such a body of work of being an actually elite line. And so they shouldn't be priced like this against anyone, I don't think. So I'm in on Nashville 1. Yossi at 7,500. He's not Burns for me tonight. So he's up there, but he's not quite Brent Burns. I think Burns is the better play. I don't know if that's reflected in our projections. Let me see that. We have... Let's see. Yeah, Burns is higher than Yossi in our projections. Actually, pretty significantly higher. So there you go. No, I'm not falling off Yossi. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm still playing Yossi. If the slate started right now, I would have a lot of Werenski, obviously a ton of Burns, and then Yossi would probably be my third or fourth guy behind Theodore. So still in that upper tier for me. Yossi for a 30 burger now? Yeah, it certainly could be. So Yossi last night had the dreaded 4-shot on goal, 2-block shot game. So he was both a block and a shot on goal away from the double bonus, but he played 28 minutes. The points haven't been there for him the last 3 games, no points. I'm not worried about Yossi at all. In fact, maybe this is a time where you could just like take advantage of people being soured on a guy that's expensive. It doesn't matter. Ellis 6,100. I think I'm okay. I'm not getting to a lot of Ellis tonight. And then I mentioned Werenski. Werenski's a guy that I like a ton. Just playing huge minutes without Jones. He's been a bonus machine and top power play duties against this awful Nashville PK. Let's go to Tampa and Arizona. 3.1 implied total for the Lightning. 2.4 for the Coyotes. Vasilevsky and Ranta are your goalies. I don't love a lot in this game. But I think you kind of have to look at Tampa too. Cirelli, Killorn, and Coleman. Coleman getting the bump up to the second line is pretty cool. People will be excited about that. I think we've got him projected for really low ownership. But if you just factor in how much people love playing Coleman for 4,500, you might actually see him higher than what we have them projected. So I wonder if they come up. That's kind of the line I like. I think they're going to avoid a lot of time against the top line for Arizona. And if you're not on the ice against them, it's probably a good matchup with the rest of these Arizona lines. Whether they go up against the Kessel line, third line, the Stepan line, fourth line, whatever it is. I like Tampa 2 a lot. One of the better secondary plays, I think. So I'm hoping they're really low owned. I just don't know if that's actually going to end up being the case. Tampa 1, they're really expensive, as I'll talk about with Boston 1. They're always good. They're always fine to play. And this is a spot where you're contrarian by playing Tampa 1, not getting much ownership at all. So I actually might be overweight on them, but I don't think I'm going to be ending up with like 20% Tampa 1 or something like that. If I was 20 maxing, maybe you could make a case for that. But yeah, just from a projection standpoint, it's not a super appealing spot. I'm assuming in the top stack tool, they are one of our most underutilized stacks. In fact, I'll look at this. Top stack tool just helps you identify over and under owned stacks. I'm sure this is one of them. Yeah, so they're like our most under-owned stack on the slate right now. They're really expensive, as is Boston 1. Boston 1 also under-owned, it appears, for being a top 2 stack. So if you like using the top stack tool, this is one of the spots to attack, Tampa 1. I will have them mixed in for sure. I don't think they're going to be near a priority for me. And then the Arizona side, they're cheap. It's just not a great matchup. And so I'm going to mute my exposure on them. Really low chance of being the top stack. They are at a good price point. Hall at 6K seems like a steal. So if you're one-offing, maybe a decent guy to go to. But full power play correlation, I don't know. It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. Plus the defenseman to pair with them would be Ekman Larson, and you guys know how I feel about him. You know how I feel about Hedman. It's not great. It's not great. Let's go to... Yeah, I think we're good here. Hedman, 6,500 actually. Super expensive. When it's like when I like Tampa 1, I usually still don't end up with a lot of Hedman. He's not on the same level for me as the Burnses and the Yossi's of the world. So usually gets left out. I don't even know if I got to him at all in my crunch. In fact, I didn't. So yeah, it gets really tough to fit in if you go Tampa 1 plus Hedman in a non-optimal spot. Let's go to Boston and Vancouver. Tuukka Rask, Jacob Markstrom expected to go. Halak went last night. Shaky beginning, ended up winning the game in Calgary. 3 implied total for the Bruins, 2.6 for the Canucks. Not a lot to like here. I think if Vancouver's smart, they go Horvat, Pearson, and Eriksson against Boston 1, and then you kind of let Pedersen, Miller, and Toffoli avoid them. Yeah, Jarrett, I do like the call on Coyle there. So I'll just address that now. Yeah, I like Boston 3. They were solid last night. If they're going to get to go up against the depth for any team, that looks like a pretty good depth line to me. They scored a full line goal last night. They're dirt cheap. Not a lot of great power play time, but we've seen like third lines that do well at 5-on-5 for cheap. Like Nashville 3, we've seen a bunch. Those lines can really differentiate you in tournaments, and you don't have to play a ton of them to have an edge on the field. So identifying some of these third lines on these bigger slates that are viable is generally pretty important if you're talking about trying to take down a huge tournament. So Boston 3 would be one of those for me. And then some interest in Vancouver 2, just because they're expensive. Not just because they're expensive. They are expensive, and they're probably going to avoid a lot of time against Boston 1 if Vancouver does what I think they're going to do, which is see Horvat against the Bergeron line. So if Vancouver scores a bunch of goals tonight, hard time believing that it's not Vancouver 2 doing a bunch of damage. So low probability play for sure, but again, under-owned in the top stack tool. I have some interest for sure, especially for MME. I don't think for small field stuff you need to go this deep. I think if you're playing one in the $400, whatever, the penalty kill or whatever it's called tonight. But they do look like they're not a line I'm Xing off. I don't anticipate them seeing a ton of time against Boston 1. Edler, Hughes, Tanev, goodness, Troy Stetcher, not great on the blue line. Hughes would be the guy I would stack up if you're playing Vancouver 2 or even Vancouver 1 with Horvat. But yeah, he's not my favorite guy by any means tonight. I'm actively trying to spend up for defensemen tonight. Yossi, Theodore, Werenski, and then of course Burns. And then my defenseman pool, at least at the top, is going to be pretty tight. Like I don't think I'm going to have a ton of guys in double digits tonight. There's a few guys I'm locking into that I've mentioned. What's up with Coyle? Is there something up with Coyle? Coyle's been playing really well. I like Kuhlman and Bjork on his line and them getting favorable matchups just because Boston's so deep. So nothing wrong with Coyle. Let's go to maybe the best game of the night. Florida, Vegas, 2.8 implied total for the Panthers, 3.7 for the Golden Knights. By the way, I didn't really talk about Boston 1. I'm not going to have a lot of them. I feel like I've been playing with fire, getting off of them. It hurt me last night. They were very good. I don't know that they didn't end up on the winning lineup because Islanders went nuts. But basically just trying to avoid a nuclear performance for Boston is what I'm doing tonight. They're getting their ownership. They always do. But like I said, I'm looking to spend up at other spots. So I'm happy with whatever Boston I get. I just don't think it's going to be very much. All right, back to one of the best games. Golden Knights, Montembeault and Marc-Andre Fleury are the goalies. I love Vegas here. No Bobrovsky. He's had an uneven season, so you could argue maybe that was a good thing. What was the winning Q lineup? I think Slewfoot won the Q. Let me go back. I stopped checking. It was one of those nights. Where we at? Last shot. Yeah. I think I zeroed out in the Q. Yeah, I did. Right here. Yeah, Slewfoot won. Fitting that Slewfoot would win the last Q spot. One of the best players, if not the best, for NHL. I think he had a seat. He had Spurgeon. Yeah, he had Spurgeon. So that 50.4, you're one of 2 people in the tournament with him. That usually does the trick for a $5,400 defenseman. Didn't get a ton out of his stack here, but I mean, it's not like the rest of his lineup wasn't solid. It was. He had Isles 1. So missed the unicorn game. That's a good way to put it. All right, so I love Vegas here. I think Vegas is one of the best teams in the NHL. They've struggled at home, maybe earlier in the season, and maybe that's just a bias I have. I think they're a really tough matchup for anyone if they match their lines correctly. So, yeah, you're seeing Vegas 1 on the screen is Carlson, Pacioretty, Stone. Vegas 2 for now is Stastny, Marchessault, and Smith. And that's how I would rank them. However, I love Vegas 1, Carlson line. I do really like the Stastny line, though, too. I just think this one's going to be... I think the gap is pretty wide between the Carlson, Pacioretty, Stone line and the Stastny, Marchessault, Smith line in terms of how much I want to play of each. I think you can play them together. I think you can Josh stack it. Pysyk is still on the second line for the Panthers. They don't have a great defense. Barkov, Huberdeau has not been great defensively. They got ran. I can't remember. It was a couple games ago. Oh, against the Kings. Maybe it was last game. Against Kings 1. Barkov line got crushed. Now, maybe the best line in hockey. Top 3 line in hockey. Carlson, Pacioretty, Stone. If that's who they get to face a lot, I think it's going to get pretty ugly here for Florida. So whether or not they finish the shots, it's hockey. Weird things can happen. But if I was going all in on a team, all in on a line, it would be this Vegas top line. Carlson, Pacioretty, Stone. Because we call them Vegas 2 for so long, I feel like I need to reiterate which line I'm talking about when I say Vegas 1. But yeah, Marchessault, Stastny, Smith, very good secondary play. Cheaper, so I understand if you're going there. I certainly am. In the higher stake stuff, I will try to get to the better line as much as possible. I don't love much on the Florida side. I think it's really tough. I think it's a really, really tough spot for them. Any team going into Vegas when they're playing like this. Florida one's not getting a ton of ownership. People will leave off Achari. I suppose you could make an argument for them at that ownership, but I think I'd rather go to like a Vancouver 2 or something like that. Yeah, they'll always be Vegas 2. They're always Vegas 2 in our hearts. Like I said, I wish they were Vegas 3. I wish they were listed as Vegas 4 on the sites so people wouldn't play them. But yeah, they're just amazing. So Theodore, 5,900, he's in that top tier of defensemen tonight for me. And then I'm probably going to give a couple thumbs up to Nate Schmidt in Fantasy Cruncher. Just playing good minutes. Sometimes they'll mix up the power plays, so I think you can play him with either line. There's a link to him regardless if these power plays are correct on the power play. Montembeault in net. What about Hoffman for Florida? He's okay. $6K for him, a little bit expensive, where I don't think it's a optimal spot. So I guess I'm lukewarm on that. Yeah, all the Vegas. Martinez had a huge game in his first Golden Knights appearance. However, I don't think that's super repeatable. He played really well. He did get the points. Let's see what his minutes were. Saw 20 minutes. He's fine for 4,200. I think I prefer Schmidt and definitely prefer Theodore, though. Last game of the night. Before we head on out of here, if you guys could drop a like, that does really help us out. Helps us continue to do this kind of stuff for free. And I know you guys love free. Speaking of free, NBA ownership projections for the main slate are free today. So I'll drop this link in chat, and we'll go through this last game and then get on out of here. 3.3 implied total for the Avs, 2.7 for the Kings. We have, we're unsure about goalies. It could be Francouz for the Avs, could be Quick for the Kings. Francouz went last night, got the win. Maybe they go right back to him on the West Coast back-to-back. Or I guess Colorado, they're mountain time, so not that long of a trip. But anyways, LA, obviously, West Coast. I like Kings 1 here a lot. And, well, actually, I like a lot in this game. I'm sort of spreading out my exposure, though. So, Kings 1, going to see a lot of time against McKinnon, Burakovsky, and Landeskog. That's not a great defensive line. Kopitar line has been tough defensively as well. Kopitar, Brown, Iafallo giving up below average expected goals per 60. And so if you're looking for a reason to fade McKinnon, if you can talk yourself into that, maybe you go with a little bit of line matching here, and you just say, well, it's going to be kind of a tough matchup, so tough 5-on-5 spot. However, the power play spot is really good for Colorado. The price is good for them as well. And then, you guys are right. Marty Ferk. I think you can go to Kings 2, and I think you can go to Colorado 2 as well, if they are they're just way too cheap. Nishushkin's playing really well, top power play, 3,900. Is it buffering? I don't know. Can you guys not see me? Yeah, you can see me. I'm live. Anyways, we'll get on out of here if we're having technical difficulties, but it looks fine on my end. I like Kings 2. I think they're going to be really low owned, and Ferk's playing well. I like the idea of this Kings second line. Obviously not going to face a ton of Colorado 1. But yeah, this game has a lot of appeal. I think I'm going to be over on Kings 1, it appears. Looks like Kopitar's getting some ownership. People will leave off Brown. People will leave off Iafallo, especially. So I like the overall ownership you're getting on Kings 1. And then, let's see. What else did I have in this game? Kings 2. I had an issue on my sheet with Marty Ferk, so I haven't crunched with him in yet. But I'm definitely going to get to Velarde, Kempe, and Ferk. And then I played a bunch of Colorado 2 last night. They didn't really give me a reason to get off of them here. So I think this is going to be a pretty fun game. Kings take a lot of shots. Always, when they finish them, they're going to, they're going to be really good for DFS. So you can play whatever goalie's in net for Colorado as well, because he's probably going to see a lot of shots. The defenseman is the issue on the Kings always. It's because if you do power play stacks or you want to correlate a defenseman, it's probably Doughty. Got some punt guys, Forbort, Hutton, Matt Roy. It's kind of ugly though. And then Cale Makar, the stud for Colorado, top power play. You can play him with either line, I think. Sam Girard just does a lot of nothing when he's on the ice for DFS. So that's really it. I'll go through quick kind of my priorities for tonight. Vegas for sure, definitely Vegas. The Carlson line. Scrolling up here. I like Nashville 1. I'm just a believer in them as a line. And then the Rangers, arguably the best team on the night. I think Vegas is right up there for me as well. Looks like really low ownership for Ottawa 1 and Montreal 1. I love this mid-tier tonight. I really do. I really love the mid-tier stacks tonight and the expensive defenseman. So that's going to be the line of construction I'm getting to a lot, which means very likely going to be underweight on Boston 1, going to be underweight on, I don't know about Colorado 1. Might be a little bit underweight on Colorado 1. but the other one was Tampa won. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them, but they look a little bit too expensive. Even though the top stack tool makes them look like a really good play, they're they're still tough for me to get to a lot of them because the defensemen you end up with, the secondary stacks, are pretty tough to look at. So that's all I got. Let's quick look at the schedule for Monday. No show tomorrow because it's a Sunday. For Monday, we have one game, so we will be back Tuesday, actually. Tuesday, there is a 13-game slate. So Nolan and I will be breaking it down. Then we've got 3 Wednesday and pretty unbalanced schedule. But we do have 5 next Friday, so I guess it's not all bad. Live final next Saturday. I'm sure we'll talk about that on the next Saturday stream. So that's kind of a look at the week ahead. Hopefully, how much Barkov. Like I said, I'm not getting to a lot of Florida, so probably won't have too much Barkov. The Barkov I do have will likely just have Achari in there, and maybe you can get that third hat trick someone mentioned in chat. You're just hoping for the full line to go nuts in the couple Barkov shares that I actually end up having. I'm all Vegas tonight. All Vegas. All right, guys. Good luck, and I'll update projections. We'll have ownership updated and all that. Check out the stuff on the site. If you want to become a member, you can hit me up on Twitter. I've got my handle above me. And shout out to Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports for sponsoring us. Use promo code Awesemo to get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points when you sign up. Go play on Yahoo. Get some lower management fees in your life, less sharks, all the good stuff that they offer. Basketball, PGA, soccer, whatever sport you're looking for, Yahoo's got something for you, including NHL. And I'll catch you back Monday. Good luck, guys. Tuesday, sorry. Good luck.